All right, guys, here we are in the first part of the second translation of stage 16 Cambridge Latin. And it is Rex Spectaculum dot 1. So the king gives a show, or the king is putting on a show. So, Rex cum multis hospitibus in aula cenebant. So the king was dining in the palace with many guests. All right, so imperfect tense verb, and then two prepositional phrases. Salvius et quintus prope regem recumbebant. So Salvius and Quintus were reclining near the king. Remember that when you dine in the ancient world, especially in the Romanized ancient world, you did so on a couch. So they were reclining on these dining couches near the king. Prope takes an accusative. And recumbebant is imperfect. Britanniae cibum laudabant, Romani vidum. So the British were praising the food. The Romans, and you've got to say, were praising the wine. So this is reusing that same verb with the two separate clauses that are coordinated. So the British were praising the food, the Romans were praising the wine. Omnes hospites regi gratias agibant. All the guests were giving thanks to the king. So regi is dative. And so to ago gratias, it means to give thanks. It's an idiom. Subito bellimicus tardus intravit, ecce naufragus noster intrat, clamavit dumnorix. Suddenly, Bellimicus entered late. So tardus is modifying Bellimicus, but we'll just translate it as he entered late. And this is a perfect tense verb. Look, our shipwrecked sailor enters, exclaimed Dumnorix. So noster is a possessive pronoun. Intrat is a present tense verb. Clamavit perfect tense. Num tu aliam navem amisisti. Now, num is going to introduce a question that is expecting no answer. So surely not. Tu is a personal pronoun. That's the subject. Amicisti is a perfect tense verb. So surely you have not lost another ship. Cetri bellemicum deriserunt et dum norgi plauserunt. So the others were laughing. So laughed at, sorry, pardon me. This is a perfect tense verb. The others laughed at Bellimicus and applauded Dumnorix. Right, so Plaudo takes a dative right there, which is why Dumnorigi is in the dative. So once again, the others laughed at Bellimicus and praised Dumnorix. Bellimicus tamen Dumnorigi nihil respondit, sed tacitus concedit. Bellimicus, however, said nothing, responded nothing to Dumnorix, but quietly sat down. All right, so responded and concedit are both perfect tense verbs. The direct object of responded is nihil, which is indeclinable, and the indirect object of that is the dative Dumnorigi. Said is coordinating these two clauses, and tacitus is technically speaking, it's an adjective. It's a nominative singular adjective that is describing that it's acting as the subject of concedit. So the quiet one sat down. It doesn't really make much sense in English, so we're going to just translate it as quietly he sat down. So rex hospitibus suis spectaculum nuntiavit. The king announced a show for his guests. All right, so perfect tense verb there, direct object, and this is dative of interest. So suis is going to be a possessive pronoun right there. So for his guests. Statum pomidiones cum saltatricibus intraverunt et hospites delectaverunt. So immediately, dwarves with dancing girls entered and delighted the guests. So these are both perfect tense verbs. And Humiliones is the subject, and hospites is the direct object of delectabunt. So they delighted. Whom did they delight? The guests. Dende ubi rex eis signum dedit, omnes exierunt. Then, when the king gave a sign to them, everyone left. So these are both perfect tense verbs. Eis is a demonstrative pronoun from is-id. It's referring back to the dwarves and dancers, and it's an indirect object. And omnes is the subject of exierunt. Salvius, quem pomiliones non delectabunt, clamavit, haec cena est bona. Numquam cena meliorem consumsi, sed ursam quae saltat a videre volo. All right, so Salvius, whom the dwarves did not delight, or had not delighted, pardon me, shouted, "This dinner is good. Never have I consumed a better dinner. But the bear, which dances, I want to see." All right, so notice there's one relative clause here, and it is quem pomiliones non delectabunt. So quem is referring back to Salvius. It is masculine and singular because Salvius is. It is accusative because it's the direct object of delectabunt. So that would be the dwarves had not delighted whom. Right? So this is a pluperfect tense verb, by the way. So they had delighted. The past of the past. Clamavit, perfect tense verb. Haec is demonstrative pronoun modifying cena. Numquam is an adverb meaning never. Meliorem is a comparative adjective. Quae saltat is another relative clause modifying ursam. And it is feminine and singular because ursam is feminine and singular. It is nominative because it's the subject of saltat. So the bear who dances. Illa ursa me multo magis delectat quam pomiliones et saltatrices. Pardon me there. All right. That bear delights me much more than dwarves and dancers. Okay, so illa is a demonstrative pronoun going with ursa. Me is the direct object of delectat. Magis is an adverb. Multo is technically an ablative of comparison. So more by much is what it is, what it literally says. And quam is going to introduce comparison, so it's an adverb introducing comparison right there. And then pomiliones et saltatrices are both in the nominative because they're being compared with ursa, which is also in the nominative. Alrighty, that's this translation. I will see you in the next translation.